the program I work in it's called land revitalization. And the agency recognized about 10 years ago that when we were cleaning up sites, whether they were big Superfund sites or little tank sites like gas stations and working with our state partners, we were sort of ignoring the aftermath. What happens after these sites are cleaned up? And so we recognized at a rather senior level in our agency that there ought to be some emphasis put to helping communities reuse properties, not just cleaning them up. That's our primary mission. We're here to protect human health and the environment, but also finding a way to make these sites useful in communities, that we add them back to the tax rolls, that we're generating sales taxes, higher value property taxes, and really lending support to economic development. We're very much engaged now in sustainability issues and sustainability principles and sustainable communities. And one of the ways we found to do that is to work with communities to put sites that are not used anymore or undervalued and perceived to be contaminated, or actually are contaminated, back into some kind of productive reuse. It's my job, which I've been doing for the last 6 or 7 years, and we work in a 4-state region around Kansas City, not just in Iowa, but also Nebraska, Kansas, and Missouri, is to really look for opportunities to work with communities, work with our state partners, work with developers, property owners, to identify barriers that exist in putting sites that are perceived or actually are contaminated back into some kind of productive reuse. So one of the projects we started to do that, a couple years ago now, is what we call our Historic Highways Project. We really wanted to look at gas stations, and there's tens of thousands of these abandoned, underutilized gas stations around the country. Many of them are not being used for an obvious reason. They're perceived to be contaminated. There may be tanks in the ground, there may not be tanks in the ground. A lot of people just don't know about the actual environmental conditions at these stations. So we hired a contractor, and we selected 2 historic highways in our project. One is the former Route 66, and the other highway is the former Lincoln Highway. And we identified about 220 abandoned stations in 115 different communities. One of the stations is up the street here in Ogden. And we contacted each of the city clerks, city administrators, mayors, anybody that we thought would be interested in working with our agencies together on finding a way to put these sites back again into some kind of reuse, to lend some sustainable development in these communities, and to talk to you about this. So this is the 4th time that Mel and I have been here. We first met with Kimberly and your police chief, Mick, last summer. Sort of introduced things, it kind of warmed up to us a little bit, and then we came back and met with City Council last fall and had a meeting with the OCDC, I think, here in January. And we've committed to help you as a community to not only find ways to redevelop the old gas station, but we've also got 2 buildings right down the street down here on your main street, Rattray Building and the Johnson Building. We've hired technical experts here. Mike, as he described, is the chief residing president officer, bottle washer cook for Vita Nova, who's a company out of Connecticut, who specializes in redevelopment of communities that have properties like this. And Nicole Henderson, who we worked with for quite a while, doing all sorts of things for us, is teaming with Vita Nova to provide support to this. The funding is coming from EPA to hire these experts.